I have just 10 seasons to win as many trophies as possible on FM26. But what makes this even more interesting is my dad is trying to win more than me, and we are both starting unemployed with almost no reputation or coaching badges. And so just trying to find our first job is going to be a bit of a challenge, which is why we are applying for roles all over the United Kingdom and Ireland, trying to find that one club each who we can persuade to give us our first chance. Because right now our trophy cabinets are empty. After some early sackings in October, non-lead side Woking wouldn't even give me an interview. Dad tried his luck at Eastleigh, but it was the same situation. And so we looked outside of England, and that's when Dad was given his first interview in Wales. Kaiasus were underperforming in the second tier, but were asking Dad to just avoid relegation, to which he agreed would be a suitable target. However, Dad wasn't the only candidate they were interviewing. They asked me if I intended to stay for a long time, which would be their preference, which of course truthfully is a no. I want to go on to other clubs and win loads of trophies, but I'm desperately needing to get my foot in the door somewhere, so I lied. And unfortunately for Dad, these tactics worked, and they offered me £320 a week to stay for the next 11 months. This team's best player currently is Sam Phillips, a winger that has a decent first touch and enjoys showcasing a bit of flair. But we desperately needed a striker, so I obtained the signature of Liam Finnegan, an 18-year-old Englishman who, compared to the rest of my team, is the most talented player at the club. And he wasted no time making himself a fan favourite here, as we quickly turned the bad start around and began picking up win after win in a classic 4-2-2-2 formation, climbing the table up into the top 4. And while this was happening, Dad was still being rejected for interviews, while I was improving my midfield with another new player on a pay-by-appearance contract. Dad was receiving rejection after rejection. No matter how big or small the clubs were, they weren't even interviewing him. Until finally, an interview with Curzon Ashton in the National League North, who, after losing their last 5 games, sat bottom of the league table. But Dad has to start somewhere, and promised the club that he would help them survive the drop this season. And it was enough to persuade the board at Curzon Ashton that he was the right man for the job, offering him an 8-month contract worth £330 a week. Right, Dad, it took it till the middle of November, but you finally got yourself a job here at Curzon Ashton.
I was getting a bit worried.
Yeah, Van Aram Enterprise National League North. They are down in 23rd.
Well, they got me in to keep them up, haven't they? That's basically it, really, isn't it? So
you're not too far off anyway. It's not like there's a huge gap. So
nope, still early days in the season. I feel I've got plenty of time to do it.
Absolutely. Now you're rocking a classic 4-2-3-1, dropping into like a deeper position. But you got some decent players for the league. They got a good goalkeeper for this division, Noah Cooper, who's 19 on loan from Stoke, and I think they got the striker as well, Tony Weston, 22 years of age, for this level. Is very good.
Bad. Yeah, not bad. So I've got a bit of a chance, really. Got someone who can score goals, and I've got someone who can save goals. So it's halfway there.
That's it. Now I am currently in Wales, so we're not in the same leagues, but I'm in the second tier of Wales, as you've seen in the north section of it. So we're both kind of looking for two different things right now. I'm on the precipice of promotion, but I don't want to go up unless I'm going to win the league, ideally, because what's the point now?
No trophy,
no trophy there. While you're looking just to gain that reputation, survive this first season.
That's all I can do, really. Just sort of get my reputation a little bit better, and build from there, really.
Right, well, let's see how this season number 1 plays out. Well, after a rocky November where I was also eliminated from both cups, we picked things up going into December for just 2 fixtures before the break, but actually managed to carry this form through to January and into Feb, with Liam Finnegan leading our goal-scoring charts with 14 goals so far in just 23 games, and actually putting us in a title race just 2 points behind Buckley Town after both theirs and Newton's poor performance recently. Dad had made an instant impact at Curzon Ashton though, and made it seem like the board had made the right decision bringing him in as manager, as once he was settled, his December consisted of just 1 loss that was only to Cambridge in the FA Cup. January and February was a lot worse, however, but the run in December alone was enough to transform their fortunes this season, sitting in 17th place by middle of February and on the up. Although Hereford in 21st had 7 games in hand over Dad's side, who currently sat in the 4th relegation spot. This is where Dad's run in the league started to decline though. just one win against Marine in February, followed 2 wins in March against Macclesfield and a 3-1 win against Chester. Meaning the last month of fixtures in April meant Dad would have to pick up some results or he could face the drop. He started the month drawing 1-1 to Ratcliffe, before picking up a massive 1-0 victory at home to fellow relegation strugglers Southport. Another 1-1 draw away to Chorley, and safety was all but secured, as other teams around him failed to pick up the points needed to take things to the final day. Dad's team ended the season with a 0-0 draw to Alfrington after losing to Buxton, and finished the first season in charge just 1 place out of the danger zone. However, things in Wales went very differently, as Liam Finnegan and co remained the informed team in the league going into the final third of the season, defeating fellow title chasers Buckley Town 2-0 and flying through March, winning 4 games and losing only once to Holywell Town. We did pick up another loss to Gresford Athletic, but a final day win against Denbigh Town, and we were claiming the first trophy of our career, winning the league by 3 points. Oh, season 1! And I've got a trophy already.
I don't know how you've done that. God almighty.
Pulled it off. Managed to pull it off. We had to win the final game of the season. Newton, if they did manage to win, would have won on goal difference if we had lost. But yeah, we're going up into the top division here in Wales. It's not going to be easy at all. And I don't think really I'm at a point where I can apply for other jobs with my reputation being so obscure. I don't think any clubs here are really going to entertain me whatsoever yet. I think I'm better off just staying where I am.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And building for next season. As are maybe you, Dad. You survived.
Yeah.
But only just.
It's a little point on my shoulder really that I've kept them up, so they're going to be happy with that. So, but it's not going to be easy from here on. There's a few good teams in there. You can see really that it's going to be a hard season for me next season. Yeah, and only 1 automatic promotion spot to get up there. But to be honest, that's kind of good because it's 1 automatic or playoffs, and we're counting playoffs as a trophy. Yeah, definitely, yeah. So actually there's like a little advantage with these leagues, although, you know, you only get 2 promotion spots. Either way, it's a trophy. Yeah. In regards to that. I'll take that. So season number 2 is going to be a big summer. With the first trophy in the cabinet, I took the early advantage over Dad. This didn't stop either of us though from being rejected once again at other clubs across the United Kingdom. And so Dad reluctantly accepted a new contract to stay at Curzon Ashton, while I was signing new players for the league above and keeping promises of strengthening the side overall. The player himself was a new arrival too in Taylor Bowen, another good striker to add to our lineup. And he was buzzing when I brought in Josh McGlone, an Irish winger who is faster than most in this league, with a decent cross on him. Those 2 signings along with a few others, and I'm ready to take on the top clubs in Wales. The predicted table anticipates a very tough season ahead for us, however, but Dad was also preparing to shock the odds, as his new striker signing had been lighting up the pre-season friendlies with goals. Joey Dawson joined in the summer on a free transfer after not finding a club for the whole of last season, but improvements all over the pitch such as Anson joined the club too, as Dad looked for bigger heights in season 2. Also adopting a new system of going through at the back as well in his quest of being hard to beat this year. And he had a lot of confidence in seeing where the media had predicted he would finish in the league table. For me, my season by the end of October was solely focused on the league campaign, after we were once again eliminated early in both of the cup competitions. We got some fantastic wins though, such as a 5-0 victory against Haverford West County. But we also failed to make an impact against the current champions, the New Saints, who defeated us 3 times this season, twice in the league and 1 in the cup. And after a disappointing December and in January, I was fearing the worst. However, another win against Haverford West County, thanks to Academy star Willamot's only goal, and this season started to turn around, as we followed that with 4 games unbeaten with 3 victories in that to go into the final game of the season sitting comfortably in mid-table. Dad's season was much more enjoyable than last season. Tony Weston and Joey Dawson decided to try and race each other to the most goals this season in a Curzon Ashton shirt. Weston scored the opening goal in a draw against the early league leaders Macclesfield Town, as well as a newly relegated side in Morecambe in a 2-1 victory. As Dad's side looked great going into the new year, but with only 1 automatic promotion spot, a spot in the playoffs looked more viable in the end, and with a very inconsistent March and April, that is exactly where his side ended the season, as he now faces Worksop in the first round, where it took an extra time goal after a 1-1 score after 90 minutes for Curzon Ashton to score and progress thanks to Curran's finish at the edge of the area. This took Dad's side through to face Kidderminster Harriers, who were top of the league table until they lost on the final day, but after finding themselves 2-1 down to Dad's side, with Western already on the scoreline, they'd be kicking themselves even more as Joey Dawson sent them home while sending Dad to the playoff final. So it was down to the final game of the season against Buxton to see if Dad could lift a playoff trophy. This time, neither Tony Weston or Joey Dawson managed to get on the score sheet, but Dawson did assist the opening goal of the match. Just 6 minutes later though, and Stobbs, the right midfielder, is putting Dad 2-0 up. It wasn't over yet, however, and Buxton's persistent pulled a goal back to make it 2-1. But the comeback was soon squashed just 10 minutes later as midfielder Davenport banged home the third and sent Curzon Ashton through the playoffs.
Ooh, first trophy on the board for your dad. A playoff trophy.
That was a big surprise. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you.
No, defeating Buxton, who finished 2 places above you. Only 3 points, though, so it was very close.
Yeah,
they
good.
Lost 5 games less than you, though. You just drew a lot less.
Yeah.
But a nice 3-1 win there.
I'm going to take that.
In that final
Thank you very
game.
much for my first trophy, yeah.
First trophy. Now you're going to go into the Enterprise National League. Are you looking maybe to ditch Curzon Ashton now that you got first trophy, or
I'll
stick
tell you what,
around?
if something comes up, I'll have a look at it.
Local
is
reputation.
a little bit better than what I was, so
Yeah.
you never know.
Only really local clubs, though, are the ones in the same division that you're in right now. So
Yeah.
right now, probably, jobs aren't going to be
No, they're
begging
not.
for you to join them.
I might try my luck with something like Forest Green or something like that. You never know. So it's worth a try, I reckon.
All right. Well, let's see if the season number 3, if we're still at the same job or not.
I dropped the bombshell first thing this summer as I handed in my resignation, believing I would need to leave to win more trophies. But it was Dad who was receiving the attention and getting interviews. And clubs were worried about his lack of experience or the fact that he was actually in contention for many other jobs too. That was because he had applied for other roles such as the manager's job at Stenhouse Muir, who were much more concerned that this would be more of a risk for Dad than themselves. And while I was unsuccessful at multiple jobs in the English leagues, Dad was offered the job to take over in Scotland as he now moves to a team in the 4th tier. Ross Taylor was the standard of star player in his side, as Dad looks to build a 4-3-3 around his abilities on the wing, with Michael Anderson as the holding midfielder and general of the engine room. The trouble was Dad had 2 strikers to choose from and neither were any good, and that showed in his early fixtures. Because although Dad's side started the season really well, they were scraping through games winning by just 1 goal and sometimes winning 1-0. Either way, after just being relegated last season, they should have one of the strongest teams in the league. Meanwhile, I received another interview in September once the season got underway at Derry City, who were concerned that this would be a big step up for me, and asked whether I would be able to meet their expectations, unlike their last manager, which of course I backed myself to come in and make an immediate impact. And so while I waited with huge optimism over a potential move to Ireland, Dar was enjoying his new club in Scotland. Yet despite feeling confident, I was still rejected from the role. Frustrating as we were now in September, although I was pleased to see Dad drop down in the league table after another 2 1-1 draws in the league. The first job that appeared once the season settled down was Barnsley, so of course I applied, only to be shocked that they'd actually entertain me for an interview just minutes later. They had started the season terribly and find themselves 23rd in the championship. And rightfully so, they were concerned about the lack of experience that I had only managing in Wales. But after telling them all the things that I think they would want to hear, I didn't expect a call back. However, to my shock, I heard back a week later that they actually offered me the job, putting a £2,400 a week contract on the table in front of me. And I have myself a new home to try and win trophies at. Their star player, Reyes Cleary, is the key to getting this team ticking, as well as the Irishman, Luke O'Connell, who is a man that I need to dig in and pull us out of the danger zone. So I picked a very attacking 4-2-3-1 with a target forward to try and do just that. And although we started losing 1-0 to Birmingham and 2-0 to Sunderland, in our third game we finally got a win against Derby County and followed that up with a 2-0 victory over Preston. This showed me enough confidence for the team to be able to pull themselves out of the relegation battle so we can build upon something over the next summer. Meanwhile in Scotland, Dad and his Stenhousemuir side went through a very strong October and November, only losing one league game and winning 5 as Mark Stowe and Dale Carrick spread out the still very limited amount of goals. Surprisingly, his side still scored the most goals in the league, but as the months became colder, the results and the form started to drop, to the point where, coming off the back of 2 wins in December over FC Edinburgh and Spartans, they then went on a 5-game winless streak, exiting the Scottish Cup during this period and dropping off the top spot in the league table. Back in Barnsley though, and I'm having pints bought for me at every bar that I walk into, because we have got these lads playing some good football and climbing the league table. Sitting in 14th place and 8 points clear of the drop going into the final third of the games. The closer we got towards the end of the season, the worse the form at Barnsley got though, to the point that a win against Wrexham at the end of March was the last win until the very last game of the season, which was a 3-2 victory over Cardiff, and that was either side of 6 losses in a row. And as it turned out, that victory on the final day of the season was so important because another loss on that day and Barnsley would be playing in Sky Bet League One next season, and I would probably be sacked. A 19th place finish and just 2 points ahead of relegation side Portsmouth, who also won on the final day of the season. Dad's form in Scotland wasn't much better, just slightly, but his inconsistencies meant that a playoff finish in the Scottish League 2 positions. And in the semi-final, he had to face Spartans, who finished in 2nd place in the league, and after a 2-0 loss at home, things weren't looking great for Stenhousemuir. But in the second leg away from home, Dad won after 90 minutes, 3-1, taking the game to extra time, only to concede 4 goals and lose 5-3.
Well, a season on and we're both at new jobs.
Yeah.
You find yourself in Scotland. Couldn't quite get promoted in the first year though with Stenhousemuir.
Oh, bit unlucky really. I mean, I did struggle at first with getting some of the players in. It's, quite hard getting the players, but I felt I had a good enough team to sort of do some damage there really. But yeah, just wasn't good enough at the end of the day.
Now, they're in the Scottish League 2, so there is a long way down. League 1, Championship and Premiership. They're a long way down. So
I took a chance going there, but it's, if I got promotion, you're getting closer then, aren't you? So,
yeah, there's trophies. I've took a big step. I'm very surprised a Championship club offered me a role, considering some of the jobs that were rejected me.
Yeah. I was surprised when you got that job. I couldn't believe. How did you manage that? So
no idea.
I don't want to say it, but they must have been desperate.
You're probably right. But they were the right to do so.
Yeah.
I kept them up. 51 points. Only just 2 points in it. But yeah, I mean, 2 points there. That was very vital. They don't necessarily have a big transfer budget right now. We're still in the middle. We're still at the very start of May, so I don't know whether that's going to obviously change at all. But to be honest, I'm just hoping this boosts my reputation a little bit. I've gone up to regional reputation just off the back of that. So
yeah, it's bound to. I mean, you've only got to have a good season, really, sort of like get close to the playoffs or get in the playoffs, and your reputation goes up again, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
so that's a massive bonus for you, really getting there.
Helps me getting a bigger job, which is hopefully closer to obviously some trophies. While you're obviously chasing sort of a promotion at Stenhousemuir in Scotland, that would obviously be good for you to. I mean, unlucky you played the League One side Spartans.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know whether that is
losing 2-0 at home. That's where I lost that game. Really, I mean, 5-3 away. I mean, I've scored 3 goals away, but losing 2-0 at home, it should have been the other way around. Really.
Yeah, they play Edinburgh City from the league above.
Yeah.
That's how that works. So it's weird how it plays out in these Scottish playoffs, but. There we go. Unfortunate for you, Dad, this season. Haven't got a lot of money, but you're never going to have money in the 4th tier of Scotland.
They're part-time team, so I even asked if they would go professional, and the board said no.
Okay, there you go. So a lot to come, and we're still only 1 trophy each as we go into season number 4.
Despite only moving last summer, Dad was still trying his luck, but failing at bigger clubs in England. But when he realised he's still staying put, he started to make some good signings for the club in a hope to win the league this year. Lewis Gibson being the main one, a free transfer for a young winger who can operate on both flanks. Meanwhile in Barnsley, I was doing the same thing, especially in the attacking positions, as Hannibal and Rodriguinho adds a lot to my side. Potentially the best move for me this summer might be the loan signing of Mayenda from Sunderland, who brings pace and power to my strike force that I didn't have last season. However, after beating Wolves in the opening fixture, we then lost 6 in a row, not winning a game until QPR in September, followed by a third against Middlesbrough. In fact, neither of us were having the starts that we desired, as Dad also found himself in mid-table after the first couple of months. And things stayed bleak for both of us, as none of our two teams clicked this year or could get a significant run going for the challenge for a trophy. By February, Dad was even 9 points off of a playoff spot, and I was languishing 10 points out of one myself too. Attacking wise, Mayenda was a great addition to the side, scoring 23 goals this season, but it was defensively that really let us down. We were horrible in the back end of the season too, only winning 1 game per month against Sheffield United in February, West Brom in March, and Stockport County in April. And if it wasn't for the win against Stockport in the second to last game of the season, we would have been in deep trouble again, because we dropped so far down the table we got dragged into a relegation scrap and just survived by 3 points with a much worse goal difference than relegated Coventry City. Dad, on the other hand, simply didn't score enough goals, only bagging 2 in 4 games throughout March, leaving with just 2 draws and ending the season in April with 1 win to Dumbarton. Again, only 1-0, a 1-1 draw, and a 3-1 loss to Kelty Hearts, meaning a 6th place finish and a very poor season for a team that was tipped for promotion this year. I did try applying for a new role at the end of the season, but didn't even get an interview, which Dad also experienced as he was setting his expectations high, going for one of the biggest clubs in Denmark. So once again, my focus was on bringing in new players to the club, including some very talented loan signings. Yalkuye is a fantastic defensive midfielder for this league that I've loaned from Brighton. And after Mayenda left us in the summer, Jacob Moore was loaned from Liverpool to try and score us the important goals this season, adopting a change of style, going into a 4-3-3 formation. However, if the first 4 league games of the campaign was anything to go by, it wasn't exactly paying off considering we only have 2 points. Dad was excited though because he signed Kyle O'Keefe, who at just 19 had been a revelation for Steinheismuir so far this season, scoring 6 goals in 9 games already and helping Dad's side to what looked like could be a title race year. And an Athletic, where the other side he took an early lead at the top of the table, with Steinheismuir chasing them, and it was Dad's side who got a 2-0 away win at Annan Athletic at the beginning of November, only to lose the game after against Dumbarton 1-0. O'Keefe is still on form as he has 18 goals just before the last game of the year, which is the second match against Annan Athletic, which will be a very important fixture considering they are within overtaking distance if Dad's team wins, and he would have another game in hand over them. And once again, it was a great game for Stenhousemuir as Maguire scored an opening goal from a free kick, and Kyle O'Keefe was there to score his 19th of the season and seal a 2-0 victory to take top spot. In fact, Annan Athletic's form fell off a cliff in January after Dad's win too, and it opened up a 9-point gap already. By the looks of things, back in Barnsley, it was another very average season. Despite Jacob Moore's goals, we were struggling for form and were currently sat in mid-table. We were the top scorers of the league, however, and February did give us some hope, as we put together a 5-game winning streak, defeating Sunderland 6-0 along the way and even reaching the 5th round of the FA Cup. But all that hard work was undone in March when we started off the month with 3 losses to Wolves, Ipswich Town and Burnley, with the last being in the 5th round of the FA Cup as well. And we didn't win a game until Reading, where at that point we were winless in our last 5 fixtures. There are still very small hopes if we can get a good run through April like we did in February again that we would be able to push for the playoffs. And so after our disastrous run, I decided to switch the system to a 4-4-1-1 to make us much harder to beat. And while Dad was beating Annan Athletic 3-1 to open up an even bigger gap of 18 points now at the top of his league, we began putting a run together of our own. First picking up a 2-1 victory over Hull City, followed by a fantastic 3-2 away win at Bristol City, where Reyes Cleary scored 2 fantastic goals. We then hosted Stoke in the pouring rain and beat them 4-0, and both sides had a man sent off, and we followed it with our only drop points in April, drawing 1-1 to Stockport County. A 6-0 hammering of Sheffield United, who were sat in second place, opened up some eyes of what we are now capable of, and a 2-0 away win to Luton Luton meant we achieved something that we didn't think was possible just 6 weeks ago, because we were now sat in the playoffs with one game remaining, and a result against Wrexham would be enough. However, I wasn't the only one celebrating, as things in Scotland were finally going Dad's way. He was crowned champions of League 2, picking up yet another trophy, which means he currently has one more than me after his playoff win in the Enterprise National League North. All eyes on Barnsley then as we host Wrexham, but things were off to a rocky start because Wrexham took the lead. Thankfully, it didn't take too long for some Cleary magic to provide an assist for the equaliser, and Mengi soon after put us in front as well. The next goal was an important one, and it was also special too, as Hannibal pulled off a beauty to secure a playoff spot, where we would be playing Southampton next. And we pretty much booked our place at Wembley in the first leg. We played at home and won a massive 4-0 victory. A huge performance from Cleary again, who won man of the match, but it was Jacob Moore in the second leg, who scored 2 very vital goals after Southampton equalised to make it 4-4 on aggregate late on. That was a close one. Either way, it was off to Wembley to try and secure promotion against Bristol City, who had just knocked out Middlesbrough 7-4 on aggregate and were feeling confident. However, we couldn't have asked for a better start to the final when Hannibal scored within just 2 minutes, which was then doubled when Barnsley were awarded a penalty and Whitboy dispatched it home. And before Bristol City could even get themselves back into the tie, Jacob Moore scored a third on the half-hour mark. It did take only 6 minutes for Tyreek George to pull one back for Bristol City, and a second from Luke Skinner on the 70th minute left the last 20 minutes very nervy. But we saw the game out to win promotion, taking things to 2 trophies each in our cabinets and 1 each for a playoff.
I had to match your unbelievable season of winning the league.
I was disappointed
with promotion.
When I won the league, I thought, yeah, I've got you. And I'd seen that you didn't win the league. I thought, right, I'm in now.
Yeah.
But yeah, well done. That's you get to Wembley and you win. You get a trophy, so that's what you're there for.
2 trophies each now, going into season number 6. It's harder than what it looks, trust me. But I'm going into the Premier League with a team that probably shouldn't be in the Premier League, I'll be honest.
I can't see you winning the league, you know, put it that way.
Definitely not.
I've got a free season coming up for me now, haven't I?
I've got 37 million though, which is the main reason why I'm like, I think I might stick around for a little bit. There's £36 million. I've been using absolute scraps for so long. And the jobs available right now, they're not exactly appealing.
No.
There's some jobs in there which obviously are like higher tier clubs than what we've been at before, but nothing that's higher tier than the Premier League that I'm looking at going, that's a good way of winning me trophies straight away.
That's the way you got to look at it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at it thinking championship with Wolves, but do I think Wolves are going to win the championship? No, they won't.
Yeah, they finished 19th.
Yeah, Falkirk in the Premiership again. I could stand a chance there with being in Scottish leagues anyway.
Yeah, they've just been relegated, so that's them going down into the Championship. So they're still like 2 leagues above you.
Yeah.
You're only a local reputation still, but it's going up a division with your team that you're aware of. It's stable right now. I think it might be silly if you made the move at this point.
I made a few good signings, so they're not a bad side at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a great season. You actually dominated the league, to be honest, and 28 goals from Kyle O'Keefe, who's been an absolute lifesaver in this season. He's only 20 years age.
Yeah, it's a good signing.
If you manage to keep hold of him,
that's
it
the
could
thing,
be back to back.
They're all on part-time contracts as well, so keeping hold of them is the hardest thing you got to do, really.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Okay, well, I expect in season number 6 we'll still be at Stenhousemuir and Barnsley, but anything can happen and any jobs can arise mid-season, and I'm sure we'll take a look if they do.
First season in the Premier League, and I rated Sunderland for 3 of their best players after they failed to gain promotion out of the Championship, with Adingra, Dan Ballard and Diarra joining for £25 million in total. Other key signings included Francesco Kamada for just £5 million from AC Milan, as well as Saeed Al-Mala, who was a free transfer. And we kept the 4-4-1-1 that done us so well in the Championship last season for this upcoming season. Dad managed to secure O'Keefe for another year after his 18 league goals last year, and signed 2 new young wingers to go either side of him to hopefully help O'Keefe increase the amount of goals he scores this season in League One. For both of us though, our years were about survival, while also taking a close look at the job market just in case anything does pop up that we fancy. For now, however, Dad went through a very tough October, November and December, going completely winless in the league, just picking up vital points in draws against Kelty Hearts and Cove Rangers. And he was just about in the safe zone and opened up a big points gap to bottom of the league queen of the South. In the Premier League, I got my first win in the third match against Brighton, beating them 2-0. But this hasn't been easy, as wins have been very hard to come by. We did, however, defeat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in September and went on an unbeaten run of 5 games, winning 3 of them from October to November. December had been rough for Barnsley though, as we failed to win a single game, but did pick up 3 draws against Tottenham, Manchester City and Everton. And for now, we are surviving in the Premier League, doing much better than what I expected. Although there were some interesting jobs popping up, right now the focus was on building our reputation for an even bigger move later on. And we were doing this by taking this newly promoted Barnsley team and shocking the Premier League, picking up big wins over Liverpool, defeating them 1-0, and a massive 3-1 win over Manchester United throughout February. All but securing safety with 37 points and just 10 games remaining for this season. The new year did see Dad Stenhousemuir's side pick up a good run of form too, as 3 wins in January took him far away from the danger, but then a 4-0 win over Clyde in February, followed by a 3-0 win over Greenock Morton, and suddenly Dad was in for a late playoff push, sitting in 4th place with the last stretch of games remaining. I blasted through my last 10 games of the season, drawing 7 Premier League games in a row, which ultimately secured our safety, as well as being eliminated by Everton in the FA Cup quarter-finals. And to be honest, I was very happy with my 14th place finish for our first season in the top flight. March, on the other hand, wasn't as friendly for Dad though, who failed to win a single league match in 8 games throughout the end of February and into April, where he beat the last team that he got a victory against again, Greenock Morton. By then, it was too late and he was out of the playoffs and staying put in League One next season. Maybe, however, there would be a position in the 58 available jobs for us to venture into in the summer though. Big decisions were made this off-season as I applied for Basel in Switzerland. Dad then decided he had taken Stenhousemuir as far as he could go and resigned. Both of us weren't even given an interview for Basel though, so I cracked on with Barnsley and signed 4 new free transfers. Dad, however, applied for Craiova in Romania and was given an interview. He also tasted rejection again from Denmark, but was then offered the manager's job at Craiova, and it's off to a new league. Dad, welcome to Romania.
Yes, I haven't been here before.
No, new club.
Lovely country, yeah.
Yeah, we opened up some new leagues. Romania was one of them, took advantage of the situation, and here you are.
Yeah.
Now, you took over Craiova, and they do have a decent side. They finished last season in 3rd place.
I mean, that's good enough for me. That means I've got the team that's there at this present moment and not a bad side then.
Yeah. Now, it's one of those leagues where near the end of the season it breaks away and you have like a championship group, because as you can see here, FCSB finished behind Dinamo Bucharest but still were crowned as champions. Yeah. So there's an opportunity for you to still win the league without even having...
Well, yeah, definitely.
I mean, 9th place got relegated.
Yes, that's a shame, isn't it? I mean, you're looking at that as well. I'm looking at it and thinking, I only lost 5 games.
Yeah.
Last season. Well, the team only lost 5 games last season, so they were better than the team that actually won the league.
Got a good side. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, I should have made a move. Yeah. I'm at Barnsley still, and I feel like I should have moved.
I just thought I'm not getting anywhere now.
No.
And I was in a league where I was starting to struggle. So
look at the quality of player compared to what you were working with in Scotland.
100% better in it.
So much better.
Yeah.
But there we go. I'm still at Barnsley. I've made some cracking signings. I mean, my team now at Barnsley, I think, is a phenomenal side. You got Kamada, El Mala, Echeverri, Adingra, just as my front 4 is very good. And the likes of Kislyak has come in this season and could make a big difference. But I'm in the Premier League. My only thinking is that it's a Carabao or an FA Cup that 100%. I could potentially get.
Yeah, I reckon you'd be looking at another 2, maybe 3 seasons before you could think I could win the league.
Yeah.
And have a transfer window as good as what you just had.
Yeah, but am I wasting my time? I might see how this season plays out, and I could be on the move as well. So this season number 7, could be very interesting indeed. Knowing that I'm still looking to move didn't stop me from continuing signing better players, as Ahusu joined for £12 million, as well as the Russian defensive midfielder Kislyak for just £16 million, which I felt were my 2 weakest positions as I opt to switch to a 4-2-3-1 this year. Dad's new signing Chobani was an elite forward for this level, and he kicked off the league campaign with 12 goals and 6 assists within the first 20 games, as he was really making the most out of Dad's 3 at the back system that he adopted for Romania. And although it had been paying off, a loss to Constanta, despite taking the lead, has actually knocked his side off the top of the league table. The likes of Dinamo Bucharest Plus and FCSB have fallen off from last season, and it's just a 2-horse race for the title this year. Although things are going really well for me again in Barnsley, we weren't exactly edging any closer to trophies. So when the young boys job appeared while sat in second place, I had to apply. And on Boxing Day, I also made the big decision to resign from my role as Barnsley manager. However, it didn't help with the job search, as young boys didn't even entertain me for an interview, and I had to watch Dad reclaim the top spot in Romania. I stayed unemployed for 4 months until finally an interview at Servette in Switzerland, just as Dad was heading into the championship group as firm favourites. According to the board at Servette, my managerial experience lacks variety, for which I told them I've always been loyal to the 2 jobs that I've managed at. And while they were concerned about the last manager departing much sooner than they expected, I told them I'm here for the short-term success because I want to win things now. And that ballsy approach was enough for them to take a chance on me and even offer me a $2,700 per week contract to move to Switzerland. They were currently sat in 4th place, and although just behind leaders Basel, they had 2 games remaining and Basel had 2 more games in hand going into the championship group. There were some exciting talents at the club to build with though, and I set them up in a 4-2-3-1 system, playing rather cautious. At first, we started well, and we even defeated Basel in our second match in charge, but we couldn't keep it going. And Basel were crowned champions of Switzerland. Back in Romania, and Dad was carrying on his fantastic run with a big 2-0 win over Dinamo Bucharest, last season's champions, and another 2-0 win over Constanta, who were challenging for the title this year. And across the 10 championship group games, he won 8 of them and only lost 1, lifting the Romanian league title and added another trophy. But it doesn't stop there. He also reached the semi-final of the Romanian Cup and managed to defeat Cernida 3-1 to go through to face Rapid Bucharest in the final. However, in what turned out to be a shock result given how the league campaign went, Dad's side were overrun and beaten 1-0. It is still a good season for Dad though, as he takes the lead in trophies. Right, well, at the end of the season, congratulations Dad, you add a new trophy to your cabinet. You have won the Romanian league, you topped the group and still won it, which is great, and 9th place didn't get relegated this time. No. However, FCSB, who won it last year, did drop all the way down to 8th place. They were in the relegation group. Yeah. At one point their job came up and I thought,
should go visit.
Shall I?
Yeah. But that would have been so funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm not there, unfortunately. Now, you did also miss out on a second trophy.
I'm so disappointed with that one. I mean,
1-0 loss.
Oh, if I'd won that one as well, 2 trophies on you, that would have been a really
2 trophy advantage
for me,
yeah, especially what we're in now, year 7.
Yeah.
With only 3 seasons left, 2 trophy advantage. Given our track record of not getting the many trophies at this point, that could have been over for you.
Yeah.
However, I do have a new job. I left my job at Barnsley on Boxing Day, might I add. Merry Christmas. See you later. I'm off to the Swiss Alps, technically.
So you didn't have a good Christmas, and then you wanted a bugger off.
Oh, I wanted to leave. Yeah. Now, Switzerland also have a championship group. You can see it didn't end up very well for me. At one point, when it went into the championship group, I could have still won the league, but Basel remained as champions, as they usually do. Them and young boys are in there. There's a couple of jobs, including the Basel job, that came up throughout the season I applied for and got completely laughed off. So the fact that I'm here now is kind of like, right, well, I'll have revenge then. Servette's in 3rd place. We've got an okay team, and they have given me a little bit of money. Hopefully I can make do with that. I mean, the squad is okay. We're rocking the 4-2-3-1. We got some okay players like Ouattara here. He's a very good player for the Swiss league. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's a year that I've got to really put a year into, I think. I don't really want to leave now. I've only just moved. If I start moving clubs already, that's when your reputation of you're moving clubs too often, you can't get a good job.
Yeah, 100%.
Will you be moving job though? Oh, just won the league in Romania. Should have won the cup.
It's one of those things, isn't it? I could stay and try and build on it and try and do it again, or do I look around and have a look? I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing yet. I've got to see what teams come available. There's a couple that, I mean, Newcastle could be a good sort of move. Really, that they're going to have the money. Aberdeen could be a good side. They're always a strong side in the Spanish league.
Spanish?
Sorry, the Scottish league.
They've just been relegated as well.
Yeah, so that could,
or they might be.
That could be an easy game to come back up again, really. Yeah. So, but I'm looking at. It looks like Bristol City's just been relegated.
Yeah, so they go into the Championship.
So they've got a Premiership side in the Championship. Middlesbrough, they're usually not bad. There's a lot of pluses there for me, but the biggest one you could be saying, oh, I should stay really and do it again.
I think if I was in your situation, I would stay because you're in the driving seat.
Yeah.
You've won the league. You should have won the cup, really.
Yeah, should have done really.
You build upon that team and you're laughing with another 2 trophies next year. While that makes it 3 trophies if I don't win anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best team in my league at the minute.
No.
So, I mean, we all know what Dad usually does. It's the complete opposite of what everybody thinks he should do. So, let's find out.
What do you think I'm going to do?
In what could be a shocking move, Dad applied for 2 jobs at Bristol City and Newcastle United, where relegated Premier League side Bristol City actually invited him in for an interview, and then they offered him the job. Which was more of a relief for me because he could have easily stayed with the Romanian league next year and won it again. And although he has some quality players that he could still win the championship next season, I think this is a big mistake, especially because one of those players was then snapped up on a relegation release clause by Roma for 30 million. While that was taking place, I was transforming this Servette side by signing the most talented players that were already in the league, like Todorovic, as well as Dion Kokoli from Young Boys, who has started the season on fire. Well, of course, at 3-2 in terms of the trophies and in the driving seat, you thought it'd be a good idea to leave and demote yourself into the championship.
I looked at the Bristol City side and I thought, do you know what? They haven't got a bad side there. I could get them right back up again. So I took a big chance and I'm going for it. I was a bit unlucky because when I did finally go there,
you lost your best player.
I lost my best player. Yeah, the buyout clause came forward and then they jumped at it and then he went and I was absolutely gutted because he was never going to go anywhere in my mind. But
no.
Yeah, I tried as much as I possibly could to keep him, but no. I've brought in some really good players, mind you, and I feel like I've got a really good side that's got a good chance of going up. So
you are in the hardest league in the world to win, though.
I know, but only
ranked the 7th best team according to the preview.
I just felt that I've got a good chance, to be honest with you. So I took a big gamble and I'm going for it.
All right, well, I think this is a lifeline for me because I think that was set in stone for you to easily win another 2 trophies there.
Yeah.
This opens it up. Now, I haven't made the best start in Servette. We are 4th after 5 games. It's not great, especially when Young Boys, who are technically the best team, I think, in this league, have been for a while, won 6 out of 6.
Only conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, I mean, Basel's dropped off massively considering they are predicted to finish top. We are the 4th best team. But what I do think I have done very well is I've bought 2 cracking strikers. And that's all I made sure I did this summer. We've got Kokoli, who's come in here. He came in for £5 million with some instalments from Young Boys already, who got 13 last season. So the fact that he left them to join me, I was like, fine, that's absolutely fine. He looks great. But I made a massive move for this guy here, again with instalments, basically trying to bankrupt the club if we don't win anything, with Anis Todorovic. And he looks fantastic.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So from another Swiss team, Luzerne, £8 million. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists already. I'm just hoping that these 2 guys can fire off this season, bring a trophy home, level things up, because I can't see you winning that championship.
Well, the other thing that went against me as well, I've just remembered it actually, was the they bought in 3 players that they had on loan last season with an automatic
loan to buy,
and I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So each time I sold a couple of players and I had the money, then all of a sudden it just kept disappearing and I had this other player and I thought, where did he come from? I had 3 players that I probably won't even play this season.
Wow, there. And we've only got 3 years left. With the scores in terms of trophies at 3-2 to Dad, can I make use of that massive opportunity that I think he's handed me? With the season underway and with 3 trophies for me to aim for this year, I was confident that with Dad's decision to leave Romania, I could actually catch him and potentially overtake him in trophies. The Europa Conference League was an outside thought though until we began winning 4 out of our first 5 fixtures and pretty much guaranteed our spot in the round of 16. It was the league title that I had the most anxiety for. We defeated Young Boys early on in October 2-1 with 2 goals from Todorovic to come from behind and even beat Basel 3-2 thanks to another Todorovic winner in the 87th minute. But we were playing catch up after our bad start to the season and Young Boys still have a game in hand on us, although we did have to play them next. Dad seemed to have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew going down to the Championship. In September through December alone, his Bristol City side lost 6 times and he was already 8 points off the top spot. However, an interesting job at Brøndby appeared in December because they were already sat top of the league in Denmark. I seen it as a step above Servette too, so I applied for the role. Again though, I was immediately rejected even for an interview. So I went into the game against Young Boys with some uncertainty, and even after taking the lead to go top, Young Boys fought back to score 2 magical goals against us to pinch the win and open up their gap in the lead. After drawing the final Europa Conference League phase game against Monaco, we qualified in the top 8, where we then faced 2 legs against Levski Sofia in the round of 16, and after getting a 2-0 away win first, we trundled along to a 1-0 second leg victory at home to progress. Our trouble was our league form took a blow with 2 losses right after, against Basel and FC Zurich, and it cost us again in the league table as Young Boys sit pretty at the top. Speaking of Basel, both themselves and Celtic have sacked their manager, which again interested me. Meanwhile in Bristol, Dad had closed the gap on Championship leaders Birmingham after his form throughout the new year had improved. He even got past Manchester United in the FA Cup 5th round with a 2-0 win at Old Trafford and stands a good chance of making the semi-final with his quarter-final tie against Burnley. Birmingham though were still favourites, and with Dad in second place, 4 points behind and a game more played, he certainly wasn't favourites to win a trophy this season. After a 2-2 draw at home against Frankfurt, my run in the Europa Conference League ended in the second leg, where we headed to Germany and lost 5-4 in aggregate. And Dad's run in the FA Cup also came to an end when his fellow Championship side Burnley knocked him out 2-0. A huge opportunity was wasted the game after though, when Dad faced Birmingham, and again his Bristol City side failed to step up as the league leaders defeated him 2-1. This led to his form spiralling as he then lost the next 3 league games against Norwich, Southampton and Stockport County, handing the league winners Birmingham the trophy with 2 games remaining and dropping into the playoffs. Unfortunately for Dad, even though his eyes might be on a playoff trophy, I've got my eyes on 2 trophies as I defeated Winterthur 6-1 in the semi-final of the Swiss Cup. The final is against Young Boys however, who stand in our way for both trophies at the minute. Dad's side eventually finished in the playoffs and his semi-final was against Burnley once again. This time however, Dad did pinch a 1-0 lead in the away first leg and backed it up to make it to the final with a 4-1 second leg victory. A final against Sheffield United though stands in his way of the Premier League and another trophy. Meanwhile in Switzerland, the league form of my Servette side continued to be strong, and with the last 2 games against Young Boys and Basel, we put ourselves in a position where if we beat them, we win the league. And against Young Boys, we finally overtook them with 1 game remaining against Basel after destroying them 6-3 just 10 days before we also play them in the cup final. But the crowning moment was the away match against Basel on the final day of the season. We took the lead only for Basel to come back to make it 2-2, but up steps Perron with the most historic league title win and another trophy. The playoff final against Sheffield United would have gone down as one of the best playoff finals of all time. 10 goals were scored, not one team took a 2-goal lead until the extra time, and a 4-4 finished after 90 minutes, but unfortunately for Dad, he won't be remembered as the victor, as Sheffield United scored 2 goals in extra time to win 6-4 and lift the playoff trophy. Which means if I can win the Swiss Cup, I can take the lead in trophies 4-3, and in my cup final a single goal was scored by former Young Boy striker Kokoli, whose goal against his former club brought me yet another trophy to add to my cabinet in what turned out to be a perfect season for me.
Well, you went to a playoff final. Chance
Gutted.
of a trophy.
Absolutely gutted. I had a really good chance of winning the league. I was pushing Birmingham all the way. I had a real bad April, but I thought, well, I've got into the playoff final.
Yeah.
I'll do me. That's another trophy. I got and lost
United.
it. I got absolutely hammered. Yeah, really, really bad.
That is
Disappointed with that.
Look at that run. That is awful.
Yeah.
Birmingham themselves, but
Yeah,
then
and I can handle that one.
3 losses and a draw.
Yeah,
Killed
that's the
you
games
off.
that killed me off.
And if you're looking at the league title, you think, well, that's like 9 points. 9 points extra puts you on 92. That is right behind Birmingham.
And I'd have gone up.
Just for those
I'd have
3
beat
wins.
Crystal Palace. I'd have gone up. So
Yeah.
I know that's not a trophy, but
If you win the game that you drew against Stoke as well, because Stoke finished in 11th place, a
Yeah.
team that maybe you should have won, gives you an extra 2 points, you would have been champions.
yeah,
So you chucked it away really in that April.
I did. Yeah,
It's a bad result. I tell you, who didn't chuck it away though. was my boys in Switzerland. What a comeback that is. 2 massive wins over Young Boys in our final 3 games. One to secure the title against them, which was massive, 6-3.
100%.
But then beating them in the cup final 1-0.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm looking at your 3 results there. Your 3 final results.
Yeah.
And who they were against. Look.
Yeah, Basel. I mean, Zurich is decent as well. Young Boys as well.
You beat Young Boys twice and Basel.
And the guy who scored in the cup final, Dion Kokoli, was the guy we paid £5 million from them the season before. Get it? It wrote itself. It was beautiful. And what a season those 2 guys had. Because 30 goals from Kokoli, 34 goals from Kokoli, 30 goals from Todorov. Watara got 24. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's why we won
Good
the
season.
league. So massive. And we've now took over, in terms of trophies, 4-3 with just 2 seasons left.
A gamble didn't come off for me.
It didn't.
Nearly did.
Will there be more gambles? Right now, there's no jobs there that I'm looking at and thinking, oh yeah, that's perfect opportunity. And I must admit, I almost left 3 times this year. I applied for certain jobs. Bromby, Celtic, didn't get them. Didn't even get an interview. I bet they wish they gave me an interview now.
I was gutted. Absolutely gutted when the end of the season come up, knowing that you tried to leave 3 times and you still won the
Just had a
2
cracking
trophies.
run. Just a cracking run.
Way it goes.
But this is it now. 2 seasons remaining, and I have overtaken Dad in terms of the trophy race. What can he do in response?
Season 9 started off on the wrong foot for me, as Al Nassr paid just £9.5 million for Todorovic, my star striker. Luckily, I had my old pals Young Boys and their new star striker to steal for a 2nd season in a row, as we signed Boris Slongo, who might actually be better than Todorovic. With my now leading trophies, I was shocked to see that Dad decided to stay put at Bristol City, and he went and spent big money on the likes of Shea Lacey to hopefully win the championship this season, keeping his 3 at the back system and managing to secure all of his good players from last year too. However, I was also looking to improve my side, and I brought in a new centre-back from Romanian side Constanta, who looked fantastic for just $5 million. And we started the season off with a bang, defeating Basel 7-1 with Boris Slongo, our new striker, scoring 2 goals on his debut. This season it seemed Dad's side had cracked the championship system though, and although Dad's August was a little bit ropey, he went into September winning all 4 games. October, he continued that run with another 4 wins in a row and only lost to Southampton in the final game of the month. November started with a loss again, making it back-to-back with very little points dropped because of the sheer amount of wins though. His Bristol City side was racking up and continued throughout the new year too. And by the end of January, they had opened up a lovely 7-point gap at the top of the championship. However, what Dad doesn't want to see is that I'm also dominating my league too, as I put away Young Boys for a 2nd time already this season, which helps me open up a 9-point gap already. We even defeated Manchester City 3-0 in one of our 6 wins in the Champions League phase, and qualified comfortably in the top 8. Unfortunately though, our run in the Champions League came to an end in the round of 16, where Bayer Leverkusen proved to be too much for us, winning over 2 legs 6-3. With a 3rd win over Young Boys and Basel, however, my lead at the top of the Swiss Super League increased to 12 going into April. We were also favourites to win the Swiss Cup after reaching the semi-final with all the other big clubs eliminated. Dad was focused on the championship though, 6 games remaining and 3 points clear. He needed a good run of games to take it home, and that's exactly what he got. In his final 6 games, he picked up 5 wins, including a 6-0 victory against Wolves and 1 0-0 draw, which was the only points dropped to Coventry City. And this season, Dad made no mistake, claiming that championship trophy. However, despite dropping off and even losing to Young Boys towards my final few fixtures in Switzerland, we continued on and lifted the league title with ease by 20 points. Great preparation for our cup final. And it was business as usual as we dominated that game too. Got an early goal by Hamache from midfield and doubled it in the second half through Turan's 2nd assist of the game to Slongo this time, and it's another domestic double.
End of season 9, and you've picked up another trophy.
Yeah.
But is it too late?
Oh. I mean, I knew I had a good squad. That's why I stayed at Bristol City, and I thought, and the players that I've signed on, especially the guy I got from Man United, Lacey, I knew it made my squad so good, and I knew I was in with a chance. But yeah, I won the league. I was just hoping that you might have slipped up.
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't. No, I went on and won both the league and cup back to back, which means I now go 2 trophies ahead of you going into the final season.
Yeah.
Scores now on the trophies are 6-4. Picked up the Super League quite easy. The cup against Grasshopper Zurich, just the 2-0 win there, but it's all I needed. And to be honest, we kind of dominated the league again. We've got some of the best players. Despite losing Todorovic, who was easily my best player, we have managed to sort of recover from that loss and bring in some fantastic players to sort of replace him, I guess. I mean, he went for £9.5 million at Al Nassr. We brought in Slongo from Young Boys, making them weaker again for roughly the same price, £8.75 million. He got 17 goals this year, so it definitely paid off. He's from Switzerland as well. Kokoli, though, the guy that we bought from them 2 seasons ago, got 26 goals. So we've done very well of just stealing their best players. I mean, we've got 4 players who've got 20 goals or more. Very rare you see that.
And it is a good tactic of buying players off your opponents, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So,
So final season then, and some interesting jobs have come up, but I don't know whether we are at the stage that we could go for them yet. I do have a continental reputation now. I'm thinking, though, I'm just going to stay put. That's 2 trophies that I can potentially easily... It's such a shame they ain't got a Super Cup, I must admit.
Yeah.
But it goes down to the final season where this could be a nice little easy 2 trophies win. However, I know what you're thinking already just by looking at the 2 jobs available.
Which is what?
Basel and Young Boys, both in the Super League.
I've got to stop you from winning that league and that cup. And I'm 2 trophies behind, so whoever I pick, they've got to win both. So I'm looking at Basel's rich, which is sort of like,
Yeah.
Young Boys ain't got a bad side, though. And we know what the reputation of Young Boys in that league's like, so I might just buy for both of them and see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely going to apply for one of them in that league.
Interesting
I've got to
summer.
stop you. Got to stop you.
All right, well, let's see if you get one of them. With my league doubling thanks to the league and cup win in Switzerland, Dad's bold statement of joining me at Young Boys would have been a move I would have done myself. So Dad took the biggest risk to save his chance of winning the challenge, and he quit at Bristol City. And he applied for both the jobs in Switzerland to join me, landing the role as the Young Boys manager, my biggest rivals. But I'm not going to be easy to take down as back-to-back champions and cup winners here in Switzerland. Especially because I have another new striker that I have brought into the club, as well as a fantastic winger that I've purchased from Celtic. With the trophy race being this close, you've managed to move to my biggest rivals in the final season.
I got the job. So, yeah, it's all about this last season. I needed to do you twice. Once in the league, once in the cup. I need both trophies. Can I do it?
Well, that's it. It makes it very interesting, I must admit, because I was storming this league quite comfortably. And here you are now, and you do have a very good team. I mean, your striker alone is very good. Some of the players that you've got on your side are fantastic. So it's going to be a fairly decent season, and I guess the games against each other is going to matter
it's
way
going to be
more.
all down to those games, really. I was looking at trying to do the same tactics that I've done all the way through, which has done me well, really. But I thought that tactic might not win the league and the cup, so I've gone attacking.
Yeah.
I've gone 2 up front. I've got another youngster. You looked at one youngster. The other youngster I've bought in, who's very, very good. So, yeah, I'm looking at this guy sort of helping me out as well to score the goals for me. I'm going very attacking. I'm going wingers, 2 strikers. The 2 midfield boys are pushing forward as well, and then just hopefully defend in numbers when I'm out of possession.
I mean, you've played two games already. St. Gallen and Lausanne Sport, 2 mid-table sides in the Swiss League, 6-0, 5-0.
So it's working.
Yeah, it's paying off already. I also had a bit of an interesting summer with the amount of transfers that came in and out. I was given a big budget though, £29 million, and I think I spent it quite well. With the last one coming in, this guy from Celtic, just to push the last sort of like bit of money out of my budget, and he's the only guy really that I want to be playing every single game there. in my 4-2-2-2. But I've also won both my games, but nowhere near to the extent that you have.
I'm a lot of goals in front of you.
3-1.
I'm 9 goals in front of you already.
Yeah. But I'm more familiar with this league. Dad isn't. So how will it play out in this final season, season number 10, with the scores so close, 6-4? All that needs to happen is if you win both of them, we draw.
Whoa, look out.
If you win the Champions League, you win.
Oh, I never thought of the Champions League as well.
Yeah.
There's
3 competitions that we're in. There's no Super Cup or anything like that. Just a straight out shootout between these 3 competitions. So you could potentially win.
Yeah.
I just need to get one of them. And the title is mine. So for the first time in these 10 seasons, our paths have crossed here in Switzerland, and it could mean winning or losing the challenge. And in our first clash against each other, I was buzzing to take a 2-goal lead, only to give that up and allow my dad's young boys side back into the match and even equalise as we share the points. Which was the only point either of us have dropped so far this season, with dad only ahead because of 1 goal in the goal difference. It could not have been any closer, and this continued throughout the colder months, as just before our second match against each other, Dad had just regained top spot again on goal difference because of my loss to Basel 2-1. Dad also had bragging rights in the UEFA Champions League too, as he progressed in the top 8 of the league phase while I finished in 12th. But again, the match between us in the league was a stalemate, as this time Dad's young boys side took the lead, only for me to find an equaliser through an own goal as we share the points again. My run in the Champions League ended thanks to Manchester City in the knockout playoffs in February. And Dad's run lasted a little bit longer, but he was eliminated by Stuttgart in the round of 16. Right after, we played against each other again in the Swiss League, and this time Dad took the lead at my stadium. But we turned things around and turned things up a notch, not only equalising through Olvera, but then taking the lead soon after Hinnerstroza, our other new signing, scored again. And we finally put the cat amongst the pigeons by scoring a third and final goal of the game, winning 3 points, overtaking Dad in the league table. But then, a loss to Grasshopper Zurich in Zurich, and a draw to Lausanne Sport, and all of a sudden, Dad is reclaiming top spot with just 2 games remaining. While I was defeating St. Gallen 3-0 in my penultimate fixture, Dad was keeping up his end of the bargain by beating Lausanne 6-1 at home, meaning it goes down to the final day. This is where we let ourselves down, as we fell behind against Basel at home, and we were only able to pull 1 goal back, meaning Dad's young boys were crowned champions. And they did it in style too on the final day, defeating St. Gallen 3-0. 1 trophy down for Dad. But what about the Swiss Cup? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we somehow avoided each other all the way, and in the semi-final, Dad came from behind against Grasshopper Zurich to win 2-1, booking his place in the final. Whereas my semi-final against St. Gallen was a little more simpler, as we dominated the tie, and after Slongo gave us the lead, we sealed our place in the final to face Dad with a second when our 2 new signings combined perfectly. You win the league, which means it's just 1 trophy in it. It's had to happen. We've somehow drawn each other in the final of the cup. We avoided each other all the way. It goes down to the very last game of the 10-year trophy race.
I can't believe it's gone this far. I'm excited, but I'm a little bit worried because I haven't actually beat you in the league.
Yeah.
You've beat me in the league.
Yeah, it's been a weird season because I've dropped points elsewhere. I lost 3 games. Lausanne Sport, Basel and Grasshopper Zurich. I just drew too many games. Drew 3 against you.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, I beat you once, 3-1. Obviously, we played each other 4 times because of the size of the league.
That's what I'm worried about. I haven't managed to beat you. I wish I'd seen a couple of wins in there as well as winning the league. So, but hey,
if there's one game that you want to win,
game of the season,
that's
do
it.
Me.
It goes down to the final game then. If Dad wins, this ends as a draw. If I win overall 7 trophies to 5. Let's go to the cup final. Cup final time, and with the 2 best teams in the league battling it out, does Dad have the advantage after winning the league, or will the fact that I've already beaten him recently play a big effect? Well, there's only one way to find out. An early chance from a corner and we smashed the post, but the rebound fell and another shot is blazed wide by Turan. Dad's first chance didn't really arrive until the second half, where Panzo done well to create some space for himself to get his shot off, but it was easily saved. With both sides so evenly matched, it was no wonder the goals were few and far between, and the game would rely on moments. One of them could have been Slongo, but his shot was weak after such a good run. But that's when the breakthrough finally came, in the 84th minute, as we caught Dad's young boys napping, and a beautiful ball over the top was put away perfectly by Slongo, who made an epic run to make it 1-0 Servette. There wasn't much time left and Dad's side kept pushing, but we defended well and tried to find a counter-attack for a second, but Dad's keeper done well to make the save. However, unfortunately for Dad, it was too late. My Servette side held on and we were crowned Swiss Cup champions. Fair play to Dad for taking it right to the very end, but after 10 seasons starting unemployed, he only managed to win 5 trophies, while I'm wheeling away with 7. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe for more challenges just like this one. And on screen, there's another one where we try to rebuild the 2 worst clubs in the Premier League after relegation.